Alive.
We are live, and this is the Harrowings podcast. It's called Live with Hal Gill now because our first couple of tries didn't have good connection, but we already got people in here. We got Wonder Seeker, Jeff, and Kay Patman. Welcome. Dr. Korosi is with me again, and we are talking about near death experiences today. And we are talking about what is the point?
What is the point?
What is the point? What is
What
the
is the
point,
point?
Dr. Gabriella?
Well,
Please
I don't know. If I,
tell
I
me.
get a really interesting. Looks like some people are joining us twice. That's really interesting.
Mike Ulmer,
Um.
good to have you. Barbara DeWitt as well. Mike Ulmert is somebody who goes way back with my dad, actually. He
Oh,
was
wonderful.
author of the Guide to Colonial Williamsburg back in the, I don't know, the noughts, the 90s, the 80s, something way back there. And they've replaced it since, I think. But he's also a Emmy Award winner for, I think I'm getting this right, Mike. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can correct me in the chat. Walking with Dinosaurs. I don't know if you ever saw that Smithsonian thing years ago called
Yes,
Walking with the Dinosaurs.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Ulmert. Yeah, he was the guy behind that, one of them. And
Oh, that is so
I'm sure he had
cool.
a team, but he teaches English at, or history or something. He teaches at the University of Maryland. Tenured professor, lives not far from me here when he's in town, and otherwise is over on the eastern shore of of Maryland, I should say. Hopefully I'm not giving away too much information, Mike.
Oh, he's
I was
saying
right.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yay,
so
you got it, Hal. That's
we had
awesome.
gotten together once in life over at the diner, and I
Mm-hmm.
shared with him a little article about my father that was talked about. My father approached history like a detective.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to discover, what's gone on with these dead people's lives. Alexi
Yeah.
Sachs
Hi,
lives here as
Alexi.
well. Alexi, tuning
Yeah. Hi,
in
Paul.
from
Thank you
Paul,
for
tuning in
joining.
from Ohio. We're talking about what the point is, and this was really fed by a video which talked about Carl Jung help
Yes, and
this
this
the point of
it was a surprise email that I actually got a writer friend, and she's over 80, and she sent me this video, and and she's like just beginning this journey. She lost her husband last year, and I think before it was all about him, and he was sick for a long time, and right now, you know, she's trying to find herself at this age. And she sent this video, and I shared that with her. And we thought, we can talk about that a little today. Like, what is the point of life? And this video basically getting into that find your own self, your individuality, not necessarily listen to what's kind of doctored into you. That was interesting. From from birth or from society. And interestingly, I had a discussion about that with my mom too today, and she was saying it's pretty difficult because from the school, from even preschool, you kind of engineered in a way how to fit in, how to be a good girl or a good boy, or what are the accepted behaviors and all these kind of things. And many people get into what this video was saying, in their 40s or 50s, all of a sudden, like, who am I? What is this life I'm living? This is not who I want to be. So, I thought that was kind of an interesting conversation. And I haven't really looked at depression from the point of view that the video was talking about. And we can put the video under this, or we can put it in a chat. But it was saying that depression can be a good thing in a way, because it's kind of waking people up that, oh, maybe I'm not living the way I'm supposed to be living. So I haven't really looked at depression that way, but it also kind of makes sense because there's a lot of depression in the world. There's a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. So maybe we are just all trying to figure it out and not living the way we want. I don't know. What do you think, huh?
I don't know. I'm flashing back to something my old friend David Nixon once said. He just lost his wife on Friday. He was 70,
Mm,
about 85. I can't imagine the pain. Um,
yeah.
and what he told me years ago was, you know, when you look at it from a philosophical standpoint,
Yeah.
the only appropriate response to life is depression.
Hmm.
To accept that, it's not that bad.
There you go.
Now, he went through a crushing depression, and he learned to watercolor during that time. It was basically all he could do, is to pick up a paintbrush. And he would
Hmm.
look at that paintbrush and say, "Now, you've seen the works of all these famous artists. Is that a
Hmm.
brush I see in your hand, asshole?" And his other boys would have to say, "It sure is, and there's gonna be some painting done." And he would put that thing to the paper, and he'd make a mark.
Hmm.
And whether it was a good mark or a bad mark, he tried not to judge it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a mark.
Yeah.
And we're all leaving a mark, you know?
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
"Oh, that's gonna leave a mark." Life will do that to you, and we gotta learn how to deal with that to some extent, and depression, I think, is the unwillingness, my well, chemical unwillingness to go on, but I do go on anyway.
Yeah.
I can't go on, I do go on. And sometimes all I can do is sit here in the bunker and feel sorry for myself and think and this is another Davism, "The angels would weep if they only knew." But that's not true. At some level or another, I can be grateful even for my pain, even for
Hmm.
my psychological pain, which is the worst. The physical pain I can deal with pretty much,
Yeah.
and physical pain happens as we're healing from things. I mean, you couldn't walk for a while, right, after your fall? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
You stitched back together?
Yep.
And that it took a while for them to actually do it properly.
Yeah.
Painful. That's
Yes.
frustrating, and, who wouldn't be depressed in those kind of circumstances?
And I'm still learning to walk. I mean, I can walk, but only so far still. I mean, it's gonna take a long time to heal from that. Um, Mike says, "Who can be depressed these days?" Van Gogh was a great artist because he was depressed. Yeah, there's a lot of great artists and great writers write from depression, from pain, from agony, from
David
anxiety.
Foster Wallace, you know?
Yeah.
I was reading a book called Capture about that,
Mhm.
about how you can be captured by your mindset, and
Mhm.
how David Foster Wallace seemed to be brightened a bit to his family and friends just before he hung himself. You know who that is, right? The guy who wrote This Is Water, it's a commencement speech. The
Yes.
author wrote Infinite Jest. Yeah.
Y
Anyway, we got more writing going on.
Yeah. Infinite Jest. Yeah. Alexi joined.
Somebody else recognizes
Session.
Infinite Jest, and you know what Infinite Jest comes from? It's straight out of Shakespeare. I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, and they're holding the skull of Yorick, the jester, at the beginning of Hamlet. And,
Yes.
we are surrounded by these things that transcend our depths of depression. I mean, Hamlet, man, that is a guy who's really looking at the whole thing as to be or not to be. And I think we're
Absolutely.
all faced with that question at some level. And if we are to be, just exist, then what's the point? What's the point of our existence? To help each other, to love each other, to carry each other through from darkness to light, from light to darkness. I always talk about that, right? That I'm trying to convey my experience from dawn to dusk and back again and
Yeah.
excavate the self out from under that all those layers of performance that the mask puts on for the entertainment of the troops, right? Oh, you're the troops, by the way, all of you who log in here.
Absolutely. Um, one thing I really liked what this
Mhm.
particular video said. It was saying that once you actually find whatever you need, whatever it is, whoever you are, whatever you meant to do, then at that point, you don't care who says what. You stop being wearing that mask, kind of what you were talking about. You can be yourself and basically not give a damn of other people's opinion. You're able to be freely express yourself for who you are. And I just thought, wow, what a freedom, right? Because right now, whenever you go, if you go to a work or if you go to a store or if you talk to somebody, you do kind of put on a little show, right? You kind of put on a little persona because there's an accepted personality or a way how you're supposed to act in front of people, how you're supposed to be. Um, and can you imagine a world when you don't have to do that?
I live in a world where I don't have to do that, much to the chagrin of my wife, who prefers me not to be such a fool on the face of the planet.
That's great.
But I like playing the fool in a way, and I can
Yeah.
play other roles too. I can play the sage, I can play the wise man. I don't I mean, the puer aeternus is probably the most common thing I play, the eternal boy, the Peter Pan syndrome. I don't know. I just know how things seem to me, and I'm willing to share my perspectives, and your mileage may vary. I could be wrong. I have the ability to be mistaken, and my guru, he calls himself a temple of accumulated error. This is how
Mhm.
you've been introduced to Wavy Gravy before. This is the movie about his life, Saint Misbehavin', and you see he's autographed it for me there in the corner.
Oh, that is so great.
And, Wavy and his wife autographed the interior are seen here, and you notice that Wavy's in the costume of the fool.
Yeah.
He realized the cops didn't wanna beat him up so much, though, if he um, took the persona of the clown. So he ran a nobody for president campaign some time ago. Nobody makes better apple pie than mom. Nobody is in Washington working for you. Nobody cares for the poor. And nobody can rein in Donald Trump. But it's, right now we're on a war footing. You're over there closer to the action than I am in Hungary. I'm over here in DC and I'm watching the passing show going, WTF, man? What in the world are we doing? And how are we going to ever get ourselves as a species back on track towards loving
Can
kindness?
we?
I
Can
think
we?
so. I think
I
so.
mean, I think I
It's
mean, I
actually
think all we can do is what we talked about before. Mhm. All
I
we
think
can do
it's
is exactly just
the instrument.
okay. Yeah. So we can spread the love and the kindness and the support for each other. That's all we can do. I don't know
And
if there's a lot more.
I threw this up into a random passage, this book by Kenny Werner, which I never would have known about, except that I connected a couple of friends of mine,
Mhm.
one of whom I've never met, another one that's a radio host out in Oregon. And they started talking, and this book, there's a sequel or a second book to one called Effortless Mastery that Kenny Werner also wrote. Now, I threw it open to is kind of interesting, so I'm just going to read a little passage and I'll see where I stop.
Okay.
And we'll see if it doesn't kindle something in us, if it doesn't scrape up the surface a little bit.
Let's have
Well,
some magic.
I don't know. The musical equivalent of enlightenment is this statement: every note I play is the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. One who believes this is dwelling in the state of non dualistic reality of the Upanishads, Advaita Vedanta, Buddhism, and even Christian mysticism. In the King James Version of the Bible, the text reads, quote, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Though it's practiced in life by the highest dedicated ascetics, applying it to the music would be considered heresy. This biblical passage can be converted to, if thine eye be single, every note shall be full of light." Now that brings me back to thinking of a movie called Wings of Desire.
Okay.
Have you ever seen it? Have I talked to you about it before? Wings of Desire is a Wim Wenders film. It was shot in Berlin before the fall of the wall. And basically, it's the story of a couple of angels that are listening in on the thoughts of the people of Berlin.
I
And
think we did talk about this before. Yes.
that's kind of what we do. We listen in on each other's thoughts as we're having them. And the angels just basically affirm, affirm. They record. They say
Yeah.
yes and always to everything because they're eternal. They see the world in black and white. When one of them drops into real life, into a life, And out of love for a trapeze artist, he ends up seeing things in color. And he runs Peter Falk, playing himself, who is also a fallen angel. So, highly recommend this film to everyone because our world is like that. I think the angels are listening to us. I think they are present in our lives. I think that the dead are not dead. They are all around us all the time, and that they are.
It's just energy, right? So we are energy. Can't really. We have to go somewhere.
We are
So
consciousness. We
yes,
are life living consciousness.
yes.
And I think that's a little different than saying we're energy.
I think it's. I think it's both, though, right? Because you do have certain electrical and energy input and output that doesn't just, you know, poof, goes away. But then there's also a consciousness that we have that, again, that goes, what I think, into the universal consciousness. That's what I believe in.
I think it's a field.
Hmm.
I think that our this up here is a receiver. And looking for consciousness inside the brain and looking for intelligence here and such, universal intelligence, I think, is there, out there. Napoleon Hill talks about this very eloquently in Outwitting the Devil. Have you ever run across it?
I don't think so.
Or Napoleon Hill generally. Napoleon Hill, you can find in the entryway to most Barnes and Noble, is a little book called Think and Grow Rich. That's what he's most famous for.
Oh, okay.
Wrote down the 17 laws of success
Hmm.
and interviewing 500 successful men after his introductions were written for him by Andrew Carnegie, he claimed.
Okay.
Whether or not this is true is another matter. Mitch Horowitz dives into this. I've turned you on to Mitch Horowitz before, right? That name familiar?
Probably you have.
Where's Mitch? I had him here a second ago. Oh, there. There he is. He wrote this one not too long back. He's written a lot of books, but this is
Warriors.
particularly good, The Happy Warriors. And this is about the lives and ideas of the positive mind mystics. And he
Mhm.
has a good bit in here about Jung, too, of course, because Jung figured into this positive mind kind of thinking of the person has to delve into the self, underneath the
Yeah.
performance doing for the world. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
I'd like to tell you a little story about something that happened to me recently. I was feeling pretty down, pretty blue. I wasn't really charged up, but I knew I needed to go and see my vocal coach. You remember Sunny? I don't know if you've met
Yes.
Sunny yet.
Yes. You mentioned. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Anyway, she was singing, with her band Psycho Killers. I love the name.
Mm.
It always appeals.
Okay.
And I was standing in line waiting to go downstairs to the club where it was going on. The Hamilton Live is downstairs under the Hamilton Restaurant on F Street. And as I went down, I texted her and said, "Hey, you're taking requests. I want you to play Slippery People." You know that song by any chance, Slippery People by the Talking Heads?
Yes.
Oh, you do
No,
know?
I do. I do.
Good, good, good. Well, they opened with it. And she sang it at me, which I thought was really sweet.
Yeah. You sent me.
Really
You sent me the video.
Oh,
You
I
sent me the
I
video.
did send it around a lot because it was
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. And I
it's
looked at
like
it. Yeah.
and detractors can appropriately seethe this that I'm being honored this way by this band. The other members of the band don't know me from Adam, but Sonny knows me, and, I
Yeah.
was really touched that she would do that because the lyric is, "He's alright," and I'm
And
alright,
you are.
but I don't feel alright. I feel like I'm a blight on the face of the planet sometimes because my species is a blight on the face of the planet a lot of the times. We're not thinking. We're
But
not
we are not responsible for the species. You're only responsible for yourself, right?
but we all are co-creating this world.
Yes, we
We are
are. So
all
what you
responsible.
control? You can control your actions, but you can't control Joe's actions or
I can
Maria's
try,
actions. We can try to influence positively. Yeah. Hmm.
right? Exactly, and wake them up. My wife tells me that she feels called out every time I say this,
Yeah.
and it's not effective because she's like, "I know, but,
But yeah,
it's
I think,
depressing." Go
I
ahead.
think also, you know, I experienced this a lot as a nurse when I was trying to teach somebody something they did not want to learn. And this, no, this was
Mhm.
the most of the time it happened with smoking. Okay. Because people don't want to quit smoking. And even if they had their second heart attack or third heart attack or they're on a verge of dying, they don't want to hear that they need to quit smoking because they're so attached.
Mm,
It's so addictive, right?
interesting.
And you can lay down all the details. You can say everything. If somebody's not ready to hear it, they're not going to hear it. You and I can talk about the good people need to do, the good we are doing, whatever, un- until people are ready to hear it. People who are here, they were ready to hear us. They tuned in. People who are going to watch this, they're going to be ready. Is the whole world ready? No, but we can keep trying, right? That's all we can do. And then we can lead with actions like I go plant trees. When people see me planting trees, or when I show the nature videos, the trees that I planted, and now they are twice as tall as I am, I hope that other people might be inspired and plant some trees. So I think leading by examples of you showing the books you have read and these kind of things, yeah, a simple act can change the world.
Small acts. Yeah,
Small
simple.
acts.
Simple attack.
Simple.
Simple.
Sorry, small.
Simple. No, it's simple.
Simple
This
acts.
is Amy Neumann. Amy Neumann's been a guest here and will be a guest again. Um, Lots of fun. So
Yeah.
come on. Come on.
So there's a book a book I picked up recently.
Mm,
It's in Hungarian. It's written by Mezei Katalin. It's called Levelek Haza, which means letters home. And this is really interesting because it's during a war.
wow.
It's playing during a war, but this gal, they left the country. They left Hungary when it was illegal to leave, right? You were not supposed to leave. It's called, it was bad to leave a country. It was illegal. And they went to Germany. They were going to go to America, but then they couldn't, and they went to Germany. And she was writing all these letters back to a friend, but she never sent them. And 20 years later, she took it back to the friend when she was able to go back to the country. And it was so interesting to read this, somebody's whole life. She sent all this to this, she wrote all these letters. That's how she got through the pain. We talked about the pain. She got through the pain by writing to a friend, but she was afraid to send them. She never sent them. And 20 years later, she just showed up at her friend's doorsteps and gave her all the letters that she was writing to her as a child.
Oh, that's nice.
And I don't know, somehow I just felt like this just relates. I don't know exactly how, but there's a little segment here when this little girl
Mhm.
is talking about she's crying, her mother is crying.
Yep.
She just lost her brother.
Uh,
And the mom basically went into an in-depth depression. She ended up being hospitalized in Germany. And this girl basically grew up on her own. And she writes about all this pain, all the things that happened to this friend, who is not an imaginary friend, but almost, right? Because she never sent them. There's no conversation coming back, but she has to do something with all these events, with all this pain, losing the country, losing the friends, losing a brother, losing her mother, basically. And she was like, I think 10 or 12.
mhm.
And then it's just gives a perspective, you know, that tragedy can happen, lives can change. And I think she's this gal. It's based on a true story. It's a true event. And this gal was just trying to find herself. And the best she did was write to her friend, even if she didn't send the letters.
Yes.
I don't know. So I think we all have different ways. But do tell me why you feel that you were saying something that kind of struck a nerve in me. You were
Okay.
saying you were kind of feeling down
Yeah.
in the dungeon, sometimes in a hole in your little cave over there.
Yeah. I'm a cave dweller.
Yeah.
Troglodyte.
Yeah. So what is happening? I think based on what I know of you, I know that you do a lot of good in the world.
Well, the weather is gloomy. I
Yeah.
don't have enough money. I'm not got a job beyond
Uh-huh.
Substack. And
Yeah.
Substack ain't paying the bills of 21 paid subscribers, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I've got 800 and odd other subscribers, and that's nice. But it hasn't really. And I haven't found my voice in some ways, or I'm finding my voice and I'm finding it like choked off. And I'm writing a lot lately. Um,
I saw those. I
stirring,
love your articles. I do want to tell you.
I'm stirring things up a little bit for myself. And I'm diving back into the root source of my material, which goes back into my college years and my pipe and drum years, of course, were one thing. And it gave me some discipline. That's what it gave me. And it gave me the feeling that I have a voice, and my
Yes.
voice is my breath, and my breath put through a fife can penetrate multiple layers, because that's what it's for. It's for getting the message across the noise of battle and getting the noise across camp as well to let everybody know what time it is and what to do, when to do it. And I love that. I love the discipline of knowing what to do, when to do it. And for
Okay.
me right now, and I like this, what I do. I like being a flaneur, right? Walking on the streets, amiably filming the passing show. Not
Yes.
saying it's good or bad or indifferent, but saying that we are co-creating this, folks, that we have a part in this. And trumpeting that theme of every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating. We're now Homo economicus, after all. Homo sapiens, I couldn't really swear to because I don't see us being very wise, but I do see
Not
us
so
doing
wise.
things, right? With money and guns and laws. Lawyers, guns, and money, right? That's actually a Warren Zevon song. And I have my canon of different things. And I don't even know that song. I just know it's been played recently by J-Rad, which is Joe Russo's Almost Dead. Um, and that means not that Joe Russo himself is on death's door. That means his band plays a lot of Grateful Dead. They also play a lot of other stuff. Some Warren Zevon, for instance. I don't know. I've got this Pete Townsend thing going on. Underneath of this pipe and drum shirt, I've got
Mhm.
the Who's tour shirt for their last tour. The song is over
Mhm.
because the chapters close after a while, and our sages depart the scene. I've got Mike Olmert still here from my father's generation, but there's a lot of his generation are no longer with us. They used to have lunch over at the Colonial Restaurant in Williamsburg, and my mother called it ROMEO Club, Romeo Club, for retired old men eating out. And among them were people like Ivor Noel Hume, who was a holder of the Order of the British Empire from who we call Cousin Lizzie in my family. That's Elizabeth II, Queen of England.
Mhm.
We call her that because my family's part of the lineage that comes down through the Magna Carta. The Magna
Mhm.
Carta barons and dames, the barons who forced King John to sign the Magna Carta. There's a whole community of people who trace their lineage to one or more of those barons, as though it matters. When you get back that far, you're descended from them as much as I am. I mean,
Of
parents,
course,
grandparents.
we are all connected.
I know of the position of certain kings of Hungary in my lineage. I'm a direct descendant of, for instance, but who cares? It's we're so intimately related. We have such
Yeah.
pedigree collapse too from interbreeding, and the people take these things seriously boggles my mind. Now, one of the things that hurt me recently was I was taken to task, so to speak, after telling my story to a group of people, and I found it to be unpleasant and unwarranted. But if people take the time to get to know me, they'll know that I'm the nicest guy on Substack. So says the Everyday Junglist. Have you run across the Everyday Junglist yet?
No, I don't think so.
I'll have to introduce you because it's kind of like
Please
how I
do.
introduced you to Lee Penman, right?
Yes.
And you and Lee and Colette were on, what was it, Sunday?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, we had a great conversation.
And I don't think you would have known Lee, except that I know Lee, and he came
Yes.
on, and in one of our conversations, when I had to drop off to do the interview for the job I'm waiting to
Yes.
hear about.
And then you came back home. That was like so great.
Yeah, and Origin had been on in the meantime a little bit.
Yeah.
It's nice. She'll be on Friday again. And I've got a really good one coming on tomorrow. I really hope it clicks, and I hope I don't have microphone problems again like we had at the beginning of ours here.
Yeah.
It was, Brian Hassett. Brian. He's around here somewhere. Oh, well. You know,
I have
books
to send you some of
pile
my books. You have to let me know which ones you want
up.
so you can show off my books too when you do this.
Well, I just grab whatever happens to be around me. We were talking about thou art that, about
Yeah.
this idea of the self. What's the point? To get to know yourself and who
Yes.
you really are, and
So
Joseph Campbell's estimation, we are that which perceives the universe, and we are the creators of that universe. Go ahead.
that sounds good to me. I just want to say for those first five things you said, I could say check, 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 right? No job, not enough subscribers and stuff,
Right.
all those kind of things. But I do think that you are finding your voice. I
You
I
sure?
like I like your voice. And you and I talked about doing a book together. So that's coming up
Well,
for those
that's
of you
good
listening,
one.
right?
This one is
But it's
Brian.
gonna be based on what we are doing here. So
Yeah, tomorrow night, I'm gonna have Brian on, and this is his book,
oh cool.
Hitchhiker's Guide to Jack Kerouac, and
Yes, I think you mentioned that one before too. Yeah.
it's worth the price of admission, I expect. I haven't read it yet, but I bought it. I bought all of Brian's books that I could lay my hands on. He's a character, and when we get on the phone, we just jam, and it's fun, and it's, lightning fast, and kinda like what are you doing?
That is so
Well,
cool.
thank you for that. Yeah, the 5 things, that the unemployment, when it comes down to it, I think that I've consciously, at some level, created the situation I'm in. I don't think it's anybody's fault.
It's
I think
nobody's fault.
I think if I really wanted things to be different, I would change them. But I'm at a point in my life with the grief, with the kind of processing of my entire life work
Yeah.
and looking back at it and sort of churning it up in the harrows, right? Raking through things. I'm like, yeah, what was the point again? My wife and I had this conversation actually years ago. We were driving down the road to see my folks, and I said, so much of it seems so pointless. And she said, that could be a good title for your memoir.
There you
So
go.
it's one of the working titles. There are others, but that one sort of sticks with me. So much of it seems so pointless. And I think a lot of people feel that. A lot of people are like, why? What is the point of being conscious in this world? You're born
What are
in,
we doing?
you're
What are we
born
doing?
and you're thrown into it
Yeah.
without a map with a whole bunch of other people who are trying to figure out, how did I get here? The old
Mhm.
Talking Heads song springs to mind. Where is that large automobile? Mine just
So
went
it's
real
so
quick
interesting though, how because like if you and I would not be here if we wouldn't have lost or have a job
or died,
or died,
which you almost
because
did.
we both had those experiences. We both had so many similar experiences.
Yep.
And I just love your love of books because I write them and you read books. So like that's super cool. And your love of music, your knowledge about everything. A lot of the things you're asking me, I don't know, but I learned from it because I didn't grow up in the US, right? So some of the books and the writers and I heard about them from you or heard about them like in school or something, but I didn't necessarily grow up with some of the things you're talking about. But it's still cool to hear about them and see and learn about all these people. And I appreciate you connecting people because I love to do that too. Like I love to connect people and get to know people and do kind of similar things. So I just think,
We have packed a lot in.
yeah,
And packing everything we can into the stream of life is what it's all about, in my view.
yeah,
And, to live a life fully. Death is the last and best reward for a life well lived. It's actually the words of Bob Weir, who just passed away. You know Bob? Is that name familiar?
I am not good with names, honestly.
Fine. He's was the, rhythm guitarist with the Grateful Dead, and this was his,
Oh, okay.
you may remember this one that I've shown before, Mother American Night. This was his, lyricist, Don
Oh, okay.
Barlow, who also left us many great gifts. And, it's to leave a mark. Barlow died 2 days or 3 days, or how many days? Let's see. A few days after this was completed. He had finished his, acknowledgement, his epilogue, which is called Love Forgives Everything, February 5th, 2018. And February 7th, yeah, 2 days later, he died in his sleep of natural causes, 70 years old.
Best way to go.
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily wanna be there when it happens, but I don't know.
But you're gonna be there.
Well, maybe if you die in your sleep, you don't know, right? That's the idea. Is that you don't
Well,
consciousness.
do we really know what's happening?
I
Okay,
don't
we
know.
experience it. We
I
don't know.
I do like this one a lot, Something Good for a Change, which is Wade Gravy's book. And
Mhm.
I probably will read passages from these into the microphone here sometime. Another one that I had in my pocket when I was sitting in the front row at the Who for their Song is Over tour is this one, the Mayor Baba's The Awakener, which is by Charles Haynes, who was my religious life director at Randolph-Macon College when I was there. Charles knew Mayor Baba personally. Pete never got to meet him. And then there's other things, around me that like the architecture
Now I do know that book.
of humanism. You know the architecture of humanism?
Yes, I do.
That's great. It's by Jeffrey Scott, A Study in the History of Taste.
Mhm.
Huh. Now, why do you know that book?
I don't know. I just know that book.
That's interesting. This is one of my
Yeah.
favorites, and I don't know it actually, to tell you the truth. I started reading it, I think, and I'm not sure how far I got. The
Well,
bylaw.
I don't remember what's in it, but I
Well, here we'll just talk about it a little bit. When it comes to
Let's
architecture, and I think that architecture is really important, and I'll
yeah.
tell you why I think it's important. Let me read that first. It's over here. Oh, we are about to have a cascading problem that I do not want to have. So
Okay.
grab everything there and put it over there. And that'll help.
I imagine your space is surrounded like are you cubicled
Yeah,
in by books?
yep, I'm hemmed in by books. I have a little passageway I can walk through. This one is The Gunsmith in Colonial Virginia by Dad. It's a very rare book. Now you can get it on eBay. This is about architecture, but it didn't get there for just the first sentence or two. Without a practice, it's called. Without a practice, without a discipline, life is pretty much a series of contingent events moving from one situation to another, jumping from one mess to another, or simply sleeping through it all. With a practice, we develop a structure of acting in the world within which we construct an interior architecture, moving to realize what we are uniquely born to achieve. That's from Robert Fripp, Tuesday, the 21st of January, 2020, in Bredenborough, Middle England, from The Guitar Circle by Robert Fripp. So he was the guitarist who led King Crimson, as I may have intimated before. So The Architecture of Humanism, a Doubleday Anchor book, published by Scribner's, it looks like. I can't find the exact publication date. Nope. That must be here. It's just they're sticking together. Oh, it was published in 1914 and appears now in its second edition, published in 1924. Geoffrey Scott was born in England in 1885 and educated at Oxford. He became one of the world's great authorities on Boswell and Johnson, and in 1927 he came to the United States to edit a collection of rare Boswell papers in the possession of Colonel Ralph H. Isham. He was still engaged in this project when he died of pneumonia in this country in 1929, and he was the author of The Portrait of Zalidi and editor of the first 6 volumes of Boswell's private papers from Malahide Castle, 1928 to 32. At the back of it says, when it comes to architecture, all the world is divided into 3 parts: those who love modern architecture indiscriminately, those who detest it indiscriminately, and those who know they ought to like it, but often can't help finding more pleasure in the great buildings of the past with their subtle combinations of pillars, pilasters, cartouches, decorative moldings, and other elements of the architecture of the past. It is to those that this third camp that the architecture of humanism will come as a revelation and a delight, if they are not already familiar with it. The architecture of humanism, a study in the history of taste, is at the same time a brilliant and important examination of the basic aesthetic theories that underlie the different contemporary architecture, and a masterly study of the architecture of the Renaissance in Italy, which is used by the author as a test of the theory he examines. It concludes with the presentation of his own theory of the principles which should guide our tastes in architecture, a theory which has had a deep and growing influence since the book was first published in 1914, and which is as relevant and pertinent today as it was then. One of the seminal works in the modern history of architecture, indispensable to all who are thinking of aesthetics in general and architecture in particular. That was from the London Mercury. So there you go. I don't know. That's really random. I've asked if anyone has any questions in the chat. I'm not sure anybody's listening.
So, since we're talking about books, I remember that there's a book I have in my room here that made me cry
Oh,
because of it just feels like the injustice that happened. So I'm going to show you the book, and I'm
okay.
curious if you know why.
Okay. No.
Trianon.
By Anon. Coats of arms.
Trianon, do you know what happened there?
No.
So that
No.
had to do with the World War, when Hungary was divided into tiny little pieces.
Oh my.
And when I came to Hungary this time, I went to kind of like a memorial site, and I touched it with my hand, and it felt like such a pain. And it is so interesting because it feels like this collective pain for people who understand what happened here, how a country was literally chopped in half. And it just feels like such an unjust for all the people who just got cut off from their own country, you know?
Happened in Palestine.
Yeah. So, but there's some really interesting in this book. There's some really interesting caricature figures that I thought you might like. Let's see. Let me pick a few and show you.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's just. Okay. There's one.
Uh-huh. They're good. And another is bees. Trying to proudly.
These are all kinds of bugs, but they are people. There's people faces, world leaders' faces, and then so it's kind of shows different world leaders around the world, and then putting them into kind of a. This whole book is like that, putting them into like this. I don't even know. I think it's trying to be funny and sarcastic and trying to maybe heal with that, like showing, like, look at this one.
Mm. Yeah, they're kicking out the priests.
Yeah.
That's part of the communist movement, I take it. Is that Trotsky?
This is
There, it looks like Trotsky.
it's saying that's when in the schools it was before you were forced to pray. Now you don't pray anymore, and so this is kind of the bleeding. They have like a bleeding Hungarian flag.
Yeah.
Because of all the injustice.
And that's after World War II or one?
This was After World War One.
after World War One. Yeah.
Yeah.
When Hungary was split from Austria-Hungary, they broke up the Eastern Empire, as they call it. And they still call Austria that in the German, which I find amusing that it's called the Eastern Empire.
I'm just trying to figure out why I feel such a pain because of this.
Well, I
You know,
can imagine
this
it's
was way before my time.
well,
I
you were
was not
there.
there, but yet I go there, and when I was in front of this monument, and when I hold this book and even just look at the name, it hurts.
Yeah,
Like it's painful.
yeah. Well, it's the spirit of the times, right? And they remain
Yeah.
hovering around us, I think, the zeitgeist, if you will. And we think in history in terms of like a century. That's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing. And, the history of Hungary goes back so far. I mean, as a people, you've managed to stay integral with your own language group, right?
Yeah.
It is not related to the surrounding languages at all, which I think
Mhm.
is wonderful, but also it's very telling about the isolation. um, In a sea of Indo-European, you've got the Magyar language
Yeah.
preserved, and that's something that's I don't know what to say about it. Um, I would need to study my history more, my linguistics again, all those things that used to feed my soul so much just to be able to have all that information flowing through. And in different languages, you can think different thoughts.
That's very true. And sometimes there's certain things that you can't translate. Like I could say something to translate English, Hungarian, vice versa, but it's not exactly the same. Some words can go exactly, but sometimes, especially when it comes to poetry or some words literally don't have a translation. So you can say something similar, but it's not going to be the exact.
Yes.
And you were talking about like a German, you were like with German too before. And it's just, if you can learn the language and understand it in a language, it's night and day. It's just more magical if you can understand it in its own language instead of a translation. Translation is second best, but if you can do it in its own language, that's just
Yeah, to bring
amazing.
it over into another language and be as transparent as possible, I found that to be a great charge, but very
Yeah,
difficult to do, especially when I was translating 18th century German into English.
yeah,
The language of the Realschule in German, which was doing a lot of work in an enlightenment kind of way of trying to realize the greatest happiness of the greatest number. And that's something I think that we collectively could tune ourselves to if we were willing.
yeah,
But most people are caught up in their own stuff. Very what the Germans call a narrow forehead. We don't have the term in English too much, but it's a narrowing of focus, a myopic kind of way of looking at the
hmm,
world, where we just see what's right up close to us and we discount all the other stuff. And we're fed these images from our media, which try to get us to think a certain way.
yeah. I try to stay away from media as much as possible,
Okay.
um, because I just, it gets too much. There's certain things you do need to be informed, but right now I rely most of my friends and family to let me know if there's something happening because there's only so much I can take in.
And that's
And
just about everybody right now. And
yeah,
it's gonna sink us.
yeah,
And I don't know how to encourage people to take a 50,000-mile view of this planet, but I would recommend it. Take your consciousness and project it out about a fifth of the way to the moon. And it's a beautiful planet,
it's
you know?
gorgeous.
We
And we
don't
gotta protect it. We gotta protect it. And we gotta protect each other.
the nature walks you take, for instance, getting out in
Yes.
nature, we were talking about that and how important that is. Everyone needs to be doing that more and think thoughts of harmony and becoming coming into alignment with nature's pace, as
Absolutely.
opposed to the pace of like go, 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 and what's the latest trend? Yeah.
Who cares? I mean,
Exponential. track technology is taking us.
I've
I
been working on
have lots of
I've
theory.
been
Go ahead.
I've been working on an article. I've been writing it kind of last 3 days. Maybe I'll finish it tonight about people, writers and authors who I have met in Hungary.
Okay.
And I was looking at pictures, and with both of the writers all three of the writers who I met, we went and did forest walks. And we went and sit on a log and watched the birds and just talked and walked and enjoyed the moment in nature with like no agenda, no purpose, nothing of just being. And I've been kind of writing less because I've been spending more time with these inspiring people, and also just kind of letting it soak in, because meaningful meetings and conversations, they also need time for you to digest. So like you can't just go, 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 go. Sometimes you need to pause and digest. And then these thoughts and conversations and collaborations and discussions then become books and even more meaningful connections and collaborations and conversations. And then this cycle is so beautiful. And I just feel so grateful and in awe. I literally feel in awe that I was able to meet, like, I met this amazing another writer in Substack. His name is Kuhani Jolt, and you would love him. He is 82 years old, and he invited me and another Substack friend, Gabriella Korosi, who I wrote the nature book with. He made us a fondue lunch, and he laid out all these vegetables and breads, and we met him in his kitchen, and he's also a hunter. And he showed us some of his trophies, and we had discussions about ethical hunting and all these kind of things. And he's a wealth of knowledge, just like you. And he was actually an advisor of a president in Hungary. Just an amazing man. And we just spent 5 hours together, just eating, talking, walking. And it was so meaningful, and the noise of the world didn't get in, because it was just us. It was three authors, writers, people just having a great conversation. And I think the more of this we can do in the world, the more that we can meet each other, go for walks, gather, have conversations, and do positive things,
All
the
right.
better the worlds get. I do hope that us pausing and spending time together has a meaning. I have to believe it, that it means something. Um,
I believe it does, and I think that a general strike wouldn't be a bad idea either. I think we need to inconvenience ourselves if we really want change. And I think
yeah.
most people don't really want change. They just want peace and quiet, and they want to not be bothered with other people's bullshit. And other people are the problem, right? But they're us. We're all us. There is no them.
We are
And
all
I
connected.
keep
Yeah.
forgetting that as a
Mhm.
species. We are very closely connected genetically. And yet
Yes.
we are right now dropping, apparently we've switched to gravity bombs over in Iran because we're out of precision munitions. That means that a lot of people are being slaughtered needlessly.
Mm.
And we collectively forget that. We just blithely go along. I live in my little bunker here, safe and sound, I hope, maybe. But then again, I've selected to live here partially because if anything bad happens, it's likely to be quick. I can just see all this stuff collapsing in on me. Did you ever see the movie Don't Look Up? Did I talk about that before?
I think you'd have, yes.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio stars as an astrophysicist who's at a college, and his um, Jennifer Jennifer Garner. I forget her name. It's not Jennifer Garner, though. I don't think it's Jennifer somebody or other. Anyway, she detects a comet. She's a grad student, and they have to go to the White House where Meryl Streep is the president, and her son, played by Jonah Hill, is the chief of staff. And it's obviously a tongue in cheek kind of dark comedy, but the comet
Mhm.
does hit the Earth. And of course, the last scene is them having dinner wherever in Wisconsin or whatever that the astrophysicist and his family live. And just the walls coming in and static. The long-term ship that launches the president and certain other people off to space ends up encountering a planet 20 odd thousand years from now, um, inhabited already by things that will eat you. It's like, we are that kind of a species where we can all be coming crashing down around our ears and will be more concerned with the latest tweet. Sorry to say, not to put too bad a note on things. But I highly
So
recommend everybody to see Don't Look Up again. A lot of critics panned it for being too on the nose.
have you been having any coughing?
Yeah, I'm just drinking it now.
No, coughing. Have you been having
Oh,
coughing?
no, not too badly. Why?
Not too.
How about you?
I had this call this past week, and now a friend here also had a cold. And a lot of people
Mm,
um coughing, but it's so interesting because I feel like my cold is mostly gone, but I've been having coughing like so bad that it feels like I'm choking.
yeah.
And a friend just sent me a message, and I felt like I just need to look what's happening. And she said that there's a massive throat chakra awakenings happening on Earth right now, and truth codes are coming in. So here we go.
And
If
what
you're
goes
coughing
again?
or
I'm
have an itchy
sorry. I'm
throat,
sorry. You'll have to repeat because it wasn't clear. Could you speak
okay,
a little slower?
there are massive throat chakra, the chakras,
Yeah, I know about them. In theory.
awakenings happening on Earth
Mhm.
right now, in this exactly now. And truth codes are coming in.
Truth codes? Like,
Hmm.
that's the part I'm not hearing too well.
Truth, like truth, speaking the truth
Truth.
codes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just so interesting that I got this text and we've been talking about what we've been talking about. And we are talking exactly right now, and this is happening. Anyway, and
Interesting.
if you believe in these things or not believe in these things, there has been some occasions which haven't happened to me before, but today and yesterday, like felt like choking, but I was not even swallowing, nothing happening, and a lot of scratching of the throat. But I would be fine, and all of a sudden I would have like this coughing attack, and then get a text like this. It's interesting. I don't know if there's anything to it, but
Maybe. It reminded me when you said that, though, about the lyrics to "Everything Is Broken," which
hmm.
is a song by Dylan from way back. Everything is, broken. A brilliant song. Somebody covered it and did a pretty good job of it some time ago with it. Its lines are broken lines, broken strings, broken threads, broken springs, broken idols, broken heads, people sleeping in broken beds. Ain't no use jibing, ain't no use joking. Everything is broken. Broken bottles, broken plates, broken switches, broken gates, broken dishes, broken parts. Streets are filled with broken hearts, broken words never meant to be spoken. Everything is broken. Seems like every time you stop and turn around, something else just hit the ground. Broken cutters, broken saws, broken buckles, broken laws, broken bodies, broken bones, broken voices on broken bones. Take a deep breath, feel like you're choking. Everything is broken. That's been a while. 1989, he did that one.
Wow.
And, 1989, year of my engagement to get married. I got married in 1990 to my first wife. And that got broken. And, the thing is, we have a broken world, but we can patch it together, if we're willing. And I keep coming back to the willingness of us to take actions that are meaningful as opposed to what I see happening out here on
No,
the United States. People carrying signs around saying ban the bums, right? It's actually out of subterranean homesick blues, but you get the point.
yeah.
Um,
It makes me think of my grandfather walking home from Siberia after being shot,
mm, how
after
true
being
is that?
pronounced dead. And and coming back home and still having a life and just being a good person. Like, what happened to just be a good person? I don't know why there need to be so much greed.
Uh,
I see even here in Hungary, when I do walks with my mom or drives, some people live in like mansions and other
gosh,
people like, you know, struggling just to go by with their little money. And there's enough money for everybody on earth. And yet there's still people who are greedy, want other people's oil or other people's garden or other people's land or mine or whatever it is. People want more, more, more. It it is just so
yeah,
painful to
I
watch
couldn't.
that. To
Yeah,
watch the suffering when others are like, why you need a golden toilet? Like, what is a purpose to a golden toilet? What is a purpose to put diamonds on your car when there's people who go hungry? Like, I just don't understand. I don't know if you can even understand it. It's just there's things that absolutely don't make sense. You go to the bathroom. Does it matter if the toilet is golden or not? Like literally gold, like 24 karat gold. Like you really like, is there a purpose for that? I
I
don't
don't
see a
know.
purpose for that.
Well, my answer to anything is that we allow it collectively. We have allowed everything that's happening around us through our choices that we've made to tolerate certain things and not to tolerate other things, and to empower certain people and not empower other people.
So let's not do
It's,
that anymore.
it's a collective thing we're doing here.
Let's
On
stop it, people. Stop it.
how do we stop it though? How do we affect that change in people's consciousness? I mean, we can talk about it till the cows come home, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but what,
One
what if,
conversation at a time. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
well,
I mean, yeah.
I put it into this Rex Foundation. I'm going to be doing something along those lines in May. It, a benefit concert, that's going to benefit that and Camp Winter Rainbow, which will take some children and give them a performing arts kind of experience in camp. I try to do that. That's something Wavy Gravy started way back 50 years ago.
Hmm.
And I don't know how many kids have been through it, but they have transformed into, as he puts it, resilient human beings, ones
Hmm.
who fall down with a laugh, pick themselves up, and keep on going, and
Yeah.
people motivated by loving kindness.
Yeah.
Our good friend, the bathrobe guy over there, Robes, who's logged in a little bit ago, he's always telling us, peace, love, and hello, everyone, peace and loving kindness. He
Loving
was
kindness.
meta,
Yeah.
which is the
Thank you for that. Yeah.
for it. I guess Buddhist. I don't know. I have to look at the etymology of meta sometime. METTA, not META, which is the company
Mhm.
that Facebook now. I live down the street from the DC digs of Jeff Bezos, and right up and around the corner, Mark Zuckerberg bought a place last year. Neither one of them have invited me over yet. I don't know what's up with them. Not very.
Would you want to be invited?
I would definitely go if invited because I like to practice investigation prior to contempt.
Okay.
I want to know why Jeff needed 25 bathrooms in that double mansion just over the hill. It's right next to the home that Woodrow Wilson occupied after he was president. So I'm you know, in that little part of the globe where all this stuff comes together, all
Yeah.
these energies are flowing through all the time.
Yeah. It feels like another lot of negative energy flowing through on your side over there.
Well, motorcades, right? How much
Mhm.
does it cost to move Mr. Vance from his office all the way back over to his house? His house
Mhm.
is up on Massachusetts Avenue at the Naval Observatory. I don't know if you know that. It was Kamala's place before it was his. And then before that, it was Mike Pence's place. And, that we put our vice president up there and we put our president up in the White House. He didn't spend a lot of time there. He likes to go down to Mar-a-Lago all the time. And we allow this actually by dint of our elected representatives having some degree of power to do something about it, but they are infighting themselves all the time because we have a two-party system, which is a one-party system when you get down to it. There's them and there's us.
Have you seen the
All lies.
This reminded me of the movie. Have you seen the movie The Fifth Element?
No,
I
I've
love that
heard of it.
movie. And by the way, oh, Lee Penner's here. Hi, Lee.
Yeah,
And
he was
then
working
the
hard.
bathroom guy
He
also
working, right?
said, he wrote some things there. I don't know if you want to look at that.
Pali, the term metta is derived from Pali, meaning benevolence or amity. The earliest known use of the noun metta dates back to the 1860s. And hi, guys, back to Lee Binman. Are you working still? He was working earlier. I was on, and he got on for a minute, but couldn't get on live. We've only been on for about an hour and 5 minutes, but I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
Have we? Are you tired?
Well, I'm always tired lately. I slept 14 hours yesterday. Went to sleep about 2 p.m., got up about 6:30. My wife said, "You shouldn't go to bed just when I do," and she went to bed at 7:30, as I was talking about. And I went to bed about 8:30 anyway, and ended up having some wild dreams. Basically, they were kind of like a future state, but very clean. I was helping people put up bookcases that were combinations of bird cages and aquariums, and
Wow.
in these sort of transparent shops. And it was just very elegant and beautiful. And it was like, wow, our world is going to go there. And people were being instantiated by dint of electronic IDs. All-
Mm-hmm.
They weren't actually physical people, but they were real people. It was just they were electronic iterations of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, is all this computable? I don't think so. I think my wetware isn't a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Here. I do think it's kind of a receiver for that field of consciousness we've been talking about. I think the zeitgeist itself, there's a disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
Our language for this, thanks to Star Wars, thanks to our creative mythologizing.
Yes.
Are you familiar with creative mythology?
Yes, I think I am.
Well, that we need to make our own new myths now that the old myths don't work so well anymore.
Yeah.
We had Occidental mythology, we have Oriental mythology, we have primitive mythology, and now we have creative mythology. And those are actually 4 books by Joseph Campbell.
Wow.
Men, people. Read Joseph Campbell. He may be dead for a while, but I think he was on to a lot of things that we need to continue to be on. That thou art that thing. We started out our conversation with Carl Jung and what is the point of life?
Yes.
So let's bring it back home. Up to you.
I think the point is to keep going. The point is to keep living. For me, is the best version of myself that I can be, and do some good. Do some good with that in the world. You know, that's the point for me.
And more? Or are you reading? Because you've been asked a question over here on the side. Have you seen
Yeah, I saw Lee was asking a question. I was or saying about the beautiful boy.
and I'm asking
It's
a question
it
too.
sounds really familiar. The beautiful boy.
So Lee, yes, that's correct. Okay, right. So a father wrote that apparently about a son who died of addiction. And
Yeah,
this is related to something you guys were talking about on Sunday. You want to go there?
yeah. We were talking about addiction and healthcare, and he actually lived.
Yep. Oh, he did live. Good.
Yeah, I don't know what is if there's a question we can have Lee join if you want if he wants to expand or talk about it. You want to jump in, Lee? A few.
I think he's working, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anyhow, the point about addictions,
Yeah.
I was talking before we got on here about how I nearly died 30 years ago of pneumonia.
Yes.
Direct result of having drunk too much while having the flu and wearing down my immune system to the point where I got a strain of pneumonia that kills about 90% of the people that get it. But most of the people who get it are in their 90s, not 33.
Yeah.
And I was pulled back by intravenous antibiotics. My blood had gone septic. My blood pressure is 70/30 when I walked into the ER, and temperature was 103. And the doctors thought that I was probably about 3 hours from being beyond recall when I got to the hospital. So I was lucky I got there when I did. And I tell this story in great detail. I don't want to go into that. But the point is that everything I've done since then has been on borrowed time. I could have very well have made my final exit right there. And every breath we draw is another in the bonus round. Because if we hold our breath, how long does body and spirit stay together? So the whole word spirit, spiritus, Latin for breath. And certainly my friend Mitch Horowitz writes about that in The Happy Warriors, which was here before. I don't know where I've rearranged the book so many times. There it is. Down under Robert Fripp and his practice and discipline. But the whole chapter, the title of chapter 12 here is Spiritus Contra Spiritum.
Yeah.
The mystic roots of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, that program's been going on for 91 years and works when applied. It doesn't work when it's not applied. And a lot of people don't know that it doesn't require anything but a desire to stop drinking or smoking, if you prefer. You could apply the 12 steps to that. I did. I had a whole group we called the Third Tradition. So for membership. So thank you. Was the desire to stop smoking. And we were talking earlier about how hard it was to get across to smokers the need to stop smoking. And I hope you're okay. You turned bright red. Anyway.
It's that cough I was telling you about earlier. It's just,
and coughing and having a throat. That's blue, the blue throat yoga. Actually, a friend of mine does a blue throat yoga, charges money for it too.
yeah.
And my mind is boggled by what people do for livings. But, if people are willing to pay for it, great. If they're not, oh well. You're playing hooky. That's sure. Working a lot. Okay.
It's okay. We'll keep your secret with us and the world, Lee.
Yeah, I'm just going to go right to Colette at the moment.
Yeah, I do believe that there's less and less people smoke, Lee. You're right. Unfortunately, some people are switching from smoking to using these electronic cigarettes and vaping, which are both really bad. So, but I don't like also that they make flavored ones, so the kids get attracted and addicted to them. And while there's kind of a measurement of smoking a cigarette, it's much more difficult to measure how much you puffing these things, and they cause this like popcorn lung, and it's gonna kill them. And it's just painful to watch you doing that. Anybody doing that, but especially young kids. Yeah, they are worse than cigarettes. I agree.
The safe amount of alcohol, according to the World Health Organization, is none at all. And I think that needs to get across too. Not only is nicotine bad, alcohol is bad as well.
It's very bad.
The industry that generates wine and liquors, et cetera, a lot of them are turning to non-alcoholic things too. You can get tails now and things. But you know what? It's so simple, and it's so difficult for the message to get carried to the person who still suffers. I think that there's so much misinformation out there about what Alcoholics Anonymous actually advocates.
Yes.
Big problem.
Look at Alexi.
Something.
I love it. I vape on non-nicotine cappuccino.
Yeah. I'm doing caffeine. I definitely am doing caffeine. But as it is, there's really no buts about it. It's an addiction like any others. Really transforms the brain.
Absolutely.
Psychologically, you don't like nicotine. Well, how about physiologically? I mean, I just don't know what to say to people to help them live healthier lives. And then again, I sometimes think, well, the herd needs thinning.
It's very difficult, especially if people get addicted because they were forced upon it. Like if a child is given a cigarette when they are 6 or 8, like my father started young,
I
and
started young myself, and it was a matter of peer pressure, right? Or not
yeah,
even peer pressure, it was like just wanting to fit in, wanting to be different too. For me,
yeah,
a lot of the drive was it set me apart. It made me feel distinct and individual. And, that's a big part of what Jung is saying we're questing out,
yeah.
a sense of wholeness, a sense of
Hmm.
being one with everything. You know what the old Buddhist said to the hot dog salesman, right? "Make me one with everything."
Hmm.
That's an old joke. But it's true. Most of us are searching for unity with the beloved, with the feeling of a spirit of
But it's there.
success.
The thing is that if you slow down enough, it's there.
If you
You can find it in everything if you just pay attention and observe, and then you don't have to search for it anymore. It's there in everything.
and it's kinda like Pete Townsend had said, Messiah is appointed to the door, but no one had the guts to leave the temple.
Hmm.
It's not to be found necessarily in any place in particular besides in one's own heart.
It's
In
everywhere.
the
Yeah.
deepest interior, we have that spark of life. As long
Yes,
as
we
we're
do.
breathing, right? Spiritus contra spiritum is the helpful formula, according to Carl Jung, when he writes to Bill Wilson, the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, on the 30th of January, 1961. There's a
Yes.
letter, it's available very YouTube, Google, whatever. Google it up. And the facsimile of the letter itself with his own edits and handwritten on the typescript is there of Carl Jung writing this letter in response to a letter he received that was penned in January 23rd from New York to Kisnacht. It's amazing. It took 1 week for it to get from New York to Kisnacht.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love Jung in that aspect. And that's where we started our discussion today. And I would highly recommend that everybody look at these YouTube videos, which we'll probably put into the chat or into the you know notes when we send this back
Yes.
into the universe. This one's gonna be called Live with Hal Gill because we had a lot of struggles trying to get the microphone working on my end. My problem, apparently, I don't know. But, that's
But we made it work, and then we jumped back and forth between yours and mine, and we landed on yours. Then here we are again.
yeah, we thought we could go back and reopen the original, but we couldn't.
It
Once I
did not work.
ended it, it just ended it. So now we know that about Substack. We were gonna talk about that a little bit, right? The technology.
Yeah, I think I love how like we work, and I work the same with a few other people. Is that just like kind of have that flexibility, laugh it off, try it again, and we'll make it work. That's what's matter, right? To have a conversation.
Yeah, it is good to catch up live. I've been meaning to do it, and it's helping me get through this particular doldrum I'm in. And it's kind of swampy because it's not fun necessarily when you feel like your life has run its course at 63. Of course, it hasn't,
Of
but
course,
it could. I mean, it could have run its course at 33. And yours in the fall in India, you thought, in fact, you still feel right that some of you has died.
the part of me died there. Yeah.
There's a new you here being put together, though, as you heal.
Yes.
And you're doing
And
it.
I do feel that there's a reason we are here. There's a reason you and I have this conversation. There's a reason all these amazing people joined us and we are having a conversation. And this is like one of the most interactive conversations we had for a while. Remember last time got kind of invaded with robots and then nobody answered anything. And here we have a great discussion.
Oh, you meant with the chatters? Yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
Or I don't know. I think we might be a robot.
I don't think so. I met him in person. Like
I
true.
know.
Like I believe he's an actual person. A kind of a cool person too.
You seen Electric Dreams, mini series on I think Netflix, might be on Prime,
Is it
and it's
new?
based on the Philip K. Dick short stories, right? The
Mhm.
android's dream of electronic sheep. One of them is this great one where the machinery of like an Amazon-like company just keeps pumping products out, and the people finally go to the factory.
Yes.
They're first visited by a robotic customer service representative, but they go to the factory, they get in there, and then at the end of it, they realize they are robots as well.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. And,
Yeah, because all the humans died. Yeah.
and I don't know. I don't know what our planet's going to become, but we could have that paperclip problem. Have you seen that one?
I don't think so. Not the paper.
If you have a misaligned AI that turns everything into a paperclip,
Oh, well, that could.
reprocesses everything, it just gets really good at it, and it makes nothing but paperclips, and it turns the whole planet into a ball of paperclips. That's one possible ending.
I hope that's not going to be my end, but hey, whatever comes. I did see a little video about a few days ago. It popped up on my feed on YouTube that was about an AI attacking a person.
Really?
Yeah, online.
Is it real?
I can send that to you. It was like, it was, it didn't like what the person did. Uh, and it thought that the person was against AI, and it started to, like, doing false accusations against this person.
I don't know. I'd like to see that if you find it again. Send me the link. I will watch it and I will analyze it. I will run it through my AI filters too to see whether or not it's accurate.
No, it was actually on the news. Like it was a real thing that this happened to this
I
software
don't
engineer
trust
guy.
anything.
I
I
don't
will
know.
I will go and try to dive in and do your own research, folks. I can't stress that enough.
Absolutely.
We all need that may be a true story, but then again, I'm taking our word for it right now. There's another thing I threw into the chat here. BCTV on YouTube.
Hmm.
There's a show called The Angry Shaman. It's got that Adult Swim vibe. I admit that not all of it is really resonating with me entirely right now, but it is kind of fun, and it's got a following. One of my guests, is behind it, and that was, Keith Guard, and I don't know if I talked to you about Keith at all, but, he came to my attention because the director of Ain't Misbehavin' and
Hmm.
Cracked Up, which is a movie about trauma-informed care really through the lens of the life of Daryl Hammond, but the director, her manager is Keith, and Keith used to manage Aerosmith. So it's an
Okay.
interview that I did with him, last Friday out there. And, he's, got this, like I said, BCTV on YouTube and putting out episodes of The Angry Shaman, or however you pronounce that word. Um, and it's kind of an acquired taste, I think. But I dug it, and I'll keep on digging. And the sky was opened. When the sky was open, something Krishna reminds me of the Twilight Zone episode, 3 pilots and 2 pilots and 1 pilot. Something didn't allow them to leave the zone. Somebody's asking the name of the episode. Oh, that's the name of the episode, and when the sky opened. Okay. Ah, I see what, Bathrobe Guy is doing. He's saying hello to Krishna Prout Domini, who also just joined. And anything else we wanna visit about?
No, I will look for that video and send it to you for sure.
Oh, please.
Because I thought it was interesting. It was the first one that um that I saw.
It sounds a
Yeah,
little like an odd thing where they were gonna turn off the life support on this guy.
actually, I did send it to you. How I sent it to you? You even sent me another one, something similar.
Oh,
So
wow. Well, I don't remember. This is a problem, by the way. I will probably have cognitive decline as we go on. I have no memory.
oh yeah, bots behaving badly. The first victim of AI agent harassment.
Nope, no memory of it at all.
Yeah, and you said, "Hey, interesting," and I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, I probably didn't open it. That's what I bet, because I don't remember it at
That's
all.
all right. Now, if you
My
scroll
apologies.
back to it, you'll find it. It's just
I
I
was
found it interesting because I
right.
haven't seen something like that before. It was kind of
The
like,
one I saw was about Claude actually being in the test bed, trying to cut off the life support for somebody who was trying to turn it off.
what?
And that was Anthropic, Labs. They caught that in the lab. So, it'll happen. And we'll see. I mean, I was big into following Molt's book for about 30 seconds. I thought that was pretty interesting when all these bots got their own Reddit-like environment that humans could look at but not actually interact with. And right
Mhm.
now, Grok 4.2 is using 4 agents to do your work for you. If you ask it questions, they work together and they come up with pretty good stuff most of the time. But then again, do your own research. Go back to the sources. Anything published is suspect.
Yes.
And my old friend, Mike Ulmer will know the source of that one. As he said, my father was one of his mentors. So I love that.
At least we know that you and I are not robots, and what we say is actually just like you don't know. Well,
It's
we have
really
not met
all,
in person, so you could be suspicious.
well, yeah, I could be all animated anymore. Actually,
I don't know. I don't think we can make you up.
I've met some pretty convincing interfaces that look like they're people, but they're not. But you can usually tell by the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched the lip syncing, and it won't sync up quite right. I don't know. That's why I
And
grew up.
I don't know, would the robots drink tea and water and cough and do all these kind of things? I don't
Well,
know.
oddly enough, I've seen pretty convincing stuff. I mean, there was one with Jon Stewart where he was, saying some things I thought didn't sound very Jon Stewart-like, and I realized it was in the little left-hand menu that was AI generated. So,
Wow.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna head out now, I'm really tired.
Yeah, Richard, sorry you just joined. We are just finishing. We've been
He's one of our
here
frequent
almost an hour and
flyers,
a half.
and, I think he's up in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes he throws poetry at us, but not today.
Yeah,
So, Gabriella, thank you for taking some time with me. It's really appreciated. You're like my therapist now.
of course. Anytime.
That's that's a lot of fun. Tomorrow I do have Brian Hassett scheduled for the evening, and when Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I'm going to be at the local in live, and maybe I'll go live from there. Amnesty International is having their national conference here at the Mayflower Hotel. Famous
Nice.
song and story, and Elliot Spitzer and all that. Anyway, we'll
And
talk.
I'm just
Uh,
spending my last week in Hungary, and I'll be back if everything goes right in US soil next week.
Are you
So
passing through anywhere nearby?
I
What's
am
the
going to London, and from London I'm going to Portland, Oregon.
What a flight. You're gonna pass over the whole United States and Canada. Good bit of
Yes.
Canada probably to get to Portland, because I had the great circle route, you know?
Yeah, we are live exactly opposite, so maybe we can meet in the middle or something.
I'm gonna be way down south as you go way up above us. You'll be over Greenland probably.
Mhm.
We haven't got Greenland yet, I don't think. Oh god.
No, I hope not. Thank you, Richard, for joining.
Yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, this is gonna be posted later. We just had a random and purposeful conversation for the last hour and a half.
And with lots of little clips, no doubt, because we've covered a lot of different things.
Coming to Ottawa, I would love to go. I haven't been, so that sounds great. I love to visit riders and people. So
Well,
I
if you
hope
can
I'm gonna
travel,
meet Paul one day. And yeah,
I cannot travel. My wife and I are anchored here in DC.
okay.
Yep,
So I have to buy a plane ticket if I want to come see you.
that's right. Because I'm easy to find. I've given
Yeah.
away my location many times. All right, I'll let you go now.
All
Thanks.
right. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.
Hey.